Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, debts, life service, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And this morning I'm doing a three-part update on the Middle East, a couple of dramatic events. In this case, it's in Iraq. And we have another battle and confrontation between Kurdish forces, the Peshmerga, and the Iraqi Shiite militia forces. And this is something I've talked about before, and it has some serious potentialities in the future for Iraq. So one war could potentially be replaced by another. But let's go back to this event. So we have this confrontation, and there was 12 killed. So it's a fairly significant confrontation, and both sides called up reinforcements, and we're also using artillery and mortar shells. So very, very dramatic confrontation between these two forces, and these tensions are unleashed because once areas are cleared of ISIS, a lot of these old rivalries and confrontations reappear. And just in fact, just last November 2015, there was a battle between Kurds and Turkmen, who are also part of an Iraqi militia at that point. So we've seen these dramatic confrontations between forces that ostensibly should be allies, but it, like I've alluded to, it portends to some serious difficulties in the future, because we already have this confrontation where a lot of theaters of action in Iraq, the Kurds are acting independently, and the Iraqis are acting independently. And it's been difficult for them to coordinate their militaries and to use them against ISIS. So they act independently. And not only that, we have, because of the incursions of Kurdish forces in areas of Iraq that were traditionally Kurdish, that they have retaken, particularly around the oil fields. We have this confrontation between the government in Kurdistan and the government in Baghdad. And in fact, Baghdad has cut off all government payments for services in Kurdistan, which is a major source of revenue. So right now, Kurdistan is actually struggling as a result of policies in Baghdad already putting the screws on this Kurdish government. So anyway, as I said in a video earlier, and I'll attach below, at some point, if ISIS is ever effectively dealt with, and the Baghdad government gets some semblance of control back over the Iraqi state, there inevitably will have to be a confrontation with Kurdistan and potentially a war. Hopefully at that point, other powers can step in and maybe negotiate something, but the tensions are high. And as I mentioned, Kurds have taken a lot of land that they'll be hard-pressed to want to return to the Baghdad government once hostilities, if ever, cease in that region. So that's why I talked about the fact that we could have one war replaced with another, and this other war between the Kurds and Iraq could actually flare up at any time, even within the midst of the war that we have now, depending on what sort of events take place. So anyway, that's why this small confrontation is something to watch and something to take note of, because it's a hint of things to come. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.